Hello, friend. I'm glad you're joining me today. It's time for our weekly legal design thinking in real life. My name is Hannele, and I'm the founder and coach in Lawyers Design School, which is a legal design hub for lawyers who want to explore new possibilities in law, break down the barriers to justice, and thrive in their careers. Today, I'm focusing on contract design. You're going to get an introduction to it and learn how it's different from traditional drafting of contracts. The chat is open, so please feel free to ask questions and comment, and I will do my best to answer them. I'm really passionate to talk about this, as contract design really makes a perfect way to embed everyday innovation to your work as a lawyer. So if you're curious about seeking new possibilities in law and legal design, but not really sure what's involved, you're in the right place today. My hope is that this episode helps you to get excited about contract design and show you what's possible. So with that, let's talk about what the heck contract design is. So contract design is about structuring and presenting legal information in contracts in a way that makes contracts more useful, empowering, and easier to understand. What this means is that we organize the information and different elements in contracts in a new way. And we also consider how we present that information, what it looks like, what it sounds like to the user, etc. So we look at the contracts beyond the legal substance, the what of the contract, and then we design the way the substance is written and laid out from the user's perspective. So we design the how. We lawyers already know what's in there, what's in the contract and what it means, but so we need to make sure that other people understand it too. What does contract design look like in practice? Contract design can entail changing the order of paragraphs and different elements in the contract, changing the language to be more simple. This is a big one. Changing the layout of the contract, changing the look of the contract document, adding visual elements like graphics and illustrations to it. And we do all this to enhance user-friendliness of contracts. We don't do it to decorate or make it pretty. And contract design is all about putting people first. This means that when we create contracts using contract design, we consider the needs of the people who will be using those contracts. So we don't just focus on what is legally sound, but also on making them clear and accessible to everyone. To give you a better understanding on what all this can mean for your own contract drafting work, I will next give you 5 ways how contract design is innovative and different to traditional contract drafting. First of all, the objectives of contract design and traditional contract drafting are quite different. In traditional contract drafting, you put most effort and emphasis on creating a document that is legally enforceable. You create a contract to secure rights and minimize risks. We know this, right? We lawyers feel we need to think of every single scenario that can go wrong in the business, and then we try to cover that in our contract language. From my in-house lawyer days, I remember feeling immensely proud of myself, waking up in the middle of the night and realizing yet another situation where things could go terribly wrong. And then I created a rock-solid wording to pass all that risk to the other party, or at least try to. That's what we lawyers traditionally do. We recognize risks and try to get rid of them. Contract design, however, places equal emphasis on creating a document that is effective in practice, not just legally sound, but actually effective, meaning that it's easy to use and understand and works for all parties involved with that contract. Using contract design, we consider the bigger picture of all the different stakeholders and the relationship, and try to come up with more balanced contracts. Because what good does it do what good does it do anyone to use their size and power to force unbalanced and unfair contracts on smaller parties? This can be particularly damaging when the smaller party may not have the financial means to cover the costs if the risks materialize. Or what is the point of concluding contracts that one of the signing parties does not understand or perhaps is not even able to read? In our discussions with Robert de Roy a few weeks ago, who's the pioneer in comic contracts, Robert explained what a good contract can look like for people who are illiterate or vulnerable. He also reminded us that as legal professionals, we have the responsibility to make sure that what we offer makes sense for the people we aim to help. Working on contracts with this approach is like a breath of fresh air to the meeting rooms where the contracts are negotiated. It's innovative and it's more sustainable. Well, second difference between contract design and contract drafting is about creating contracts by design rather than by default. Contract design is an intentional approach, which means that we carefully consider and design each element of the contract with the specific user and purpose in mind. In contrast, contract drafting may mostly rely on pre-existing templates or standard contract language, which can result in a generic or boilerplate document that is not well suited for the specific users and situations. And don't get me wrong here, there's nothing wrong with templates. In fact, to scale the benefits of contract design, we often create templates that can be used over and over again with many different users. However, the problem lies in how these templates are made and how we draft new language. We often rely on outdated precedents and copy-paste archaic language that we know has been used before, so that we can be sure that the contract has the legal implications we want. But with this approach, we're just hedging our own tails, and it doesn't serve our clients very well. So I want to challenge you. What if the next time you start drafting a contract, you conduct a small experiment? Instead of simply searching for the precedent and copy-pasting that, try taking the key points of a clause and rewriting it in your own words. Write it with a specific user in mind, such as your colleague or client or even your mother. Write on a blank piece of paper without looking at the template. And once you're finished, compare the result and see what you can find. Third way contract design brings innovation to contract drafting is through the use of information design. Contrary to what many lawyers think, we don't have to reinvent the wheel to innovate. We don't need to come up with new ways to improve contracts from scratch. There's a wealth of knowledge in the field of information design that can be implemented and adjusted in the legal context. Information design is all about making complex information understandable, and it enhances comprehension and engagement. Information design involves taking a large amount of information and simplifying it through visual representations and graphic depictions. It combines graphic design principles with data analysis and presentation techniques to communicate information effectively. I recently talked to Rob Waller in one of these weekly sessions, and he's an information design guru, and he made the case of information design through really powerful examples. You may want to go through that. Applying principles of information design in our contracts is transformative. It removes the guesswork and offers clear principles and rules to explore, as well as inspiring examples to draw from. Rather than typing away your contract with preset Microsoft Word styles with small font size and which is fully justified text, incorporating simple tools of information design on the layout and legibility can bring innovation to your everyday contract work. This approach invites you to use and strengthen your visual thinking skills, which may have been dormant for some time. But learning to examine the contract layout and not just its content can make a huge difference for your clients and users. It doesn't require you to be a graphic or information designer, just a shift in a mindset and simple tools into practice. The fourth way to innovate with contract design is to simplify your language. Contract design is a way to cure your words that you're used to in traditional contract drafting. As a lawyer, you likely have a deep appreciation for language and the art of legal writing. Language is, in many ways, at the core of our work and our identity as legal professionals. In traditional contract drafting, we have developed our own language that we use each time we sit down to write. Have you noticed this? We use words and expressions we never use outside legal documents. But why do we keep using this language in contracts? Yes, I know, traditions, precedents, risk management, reputation, power. There are plenty of reasons why we do it. However, innovation does not live and breathe with these reasons. A word of caution and encouragement, though, with language simplification. If you have ever tried to simplify contract language or any other legal language, you've probably found it to be very difficult and it takes a lot of courage. It takes guts to ditch the legalese and come up with human-friendly ways of saying the things that, I don't know, contract geeks have spent hundreds of years perfecting. And to leave something out of the contract completely if it doesn't serve the user or the purpose. That takes courage. Simplifying language is a trailblazer work. I think we might currently actually see more examples of the use of visuals in contracts than the use of simplified language. So there is plenty of room for you to start innovating with your contract language. Language is the perfect place to start. Then the fifth and final difference between contract design and traditional contract drafting. It's that the contract design aims to create value and improve outcomes for all parties involved, including you. Traditional contract drafting is often viewed as necessary but burdensome task. You may be distanced from the business and the people you work with and serve. You may find yourself sitting in your cubicle endlessly copying and pasting with just minor tweaks. But it's not really unrealistic. It's not unrealistic to want to enjoy what you do and use your working hours to serve your purpose. Your purpose may not always go hand in hand with your employer's purpose, but it's still possible to design your own work life to match your values. For many of us, this means working in a more human, creative, and holistic way, which can also be reflected in our contract work. I want to quote Robert DeRoy here. He said that if you have a purpose, if you're producing a contract or document or policy that people are actually going to enjoy using, that's a much better way to spend your time creating stuff that people like or that serves their purpose positively. Much better than creating stuff that people would prefer to chew on cardboard than read. That's a powerful way to end this session. So there you have it, contract design, innovation for lawyers. What is your takeaway from this episode? I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments or DM me. And if you're interested in working with me to learn contract design, I have good news for you. Contract Design School is coming and the next cohort is just around the corner. We'll have the doors open for a limited time next month. That's in April. And that's your chance to get in to start your journey in contract design with solid foundation and great support. To ensure that you won't miss anything, sign up for the waitlist. You'll also get a special bonus as a waitlister. Go to lawyersdesignschool.com/enroll. That's lawyersdesignschool.com/enroll. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the course working with me. Thank you so much for joining today, and don't be a stranger. Let me hear from you. Bye-bye.